All right, ready for a deep dive. We're tackling A Christmas Carol. Most folks think they know it backwards and forwards, but I think there's always something new to discover with this one, like finding a hidden detail in a picture you've looked at 1,000 times.
It's true. I mean, even after all these years, Dickens' descriptions can still give me chills, especially right at the beginning when he introduces Scrooge. He doesn't just say Scrooge is mean or greedy. He says, hard and sharp as flint. It paints such a vivid picture.
Right. You get the sense that Scrooge is as much a part of London as the fog itself. Speaking of which, there's that whole bit with Marley's face and the door knocker. It's like right off the bat, Dickens is messing with us. Is Scrooge really seeing that, or is it just his imagination running wild?
That's what makes it so brilliant. It makes you question what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
Is Scrooge haunted by actual ghosts or just the shadows of his past? Dickens keeps you guessing.
And then there's Scrooge himself. He's like the king of bah humbug, right? But even with him, Dickens gives us these little glimpses, these hints, that maybe Scrooge isn't completely heartless. Like when he sees himself as a child and wishes he could have given something to the carol singer.
Yes, you see that flicker of regret, almost like he's mourning the person he could have been. It makes you wonder, what happened to make him so hardened?
Well, that's where the three ghosts come in, right? Past, present, and yet to come. And they're not just there for spooky special effects. They each represent something so much bigger.
Exactly. They're like walking embodiments of time, memory, and the consequences of our actions. Dickens is making us confront these powerful forces right alongside Scrooge.
And the way he describes them, it's like he plucks these images straight from our dreams. The Ghost of Christmas Past, for instance, is this bizarre mix of ancient and childlike. What do you make of that?
Well, it's fascinating, isn't it? You've got the innocence we associate with childhood, but also the sense of ages past, of choices made and time slipping away. Dickens wants us to feel both the joy and the potential regret that come with looking back on our lives.
In Scrooge, he's forced to experience it all, and then there are those sensory details Dickens uses. Remember when Scrooge experiences 1,000 odors with the Ghost of Christmas Past? It's like evocative, right? I don't know about you, but certain smells can really take me back.
It really is amazing how much Dickens can pack into a single sentence, a single image. Like when he describes Fezziwig's party, it's not just a party, it's an explosion of pure joy.
Right, you can practically hear the music and laughter just reading it, but it's more than just a good time. Think about how Scrooge reacts to it. He actually defends Fezziwig's wastefulness. Can you believe that?
That's the thing about Scrooge, he keeps surprising us. He goes from criticizing Fezziwig to practically singing his praises, all because he's starting to understand the value of generosity. It's like he's seeing the world in a whole new light.
And that's what's so great about this story. It makes you think about the small acts of kindness that have touched your own life, those little gestures that can have such a big impact. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, absolutely. But we can't forget, Dickens is also using Fezziwig to highlight the social inequalities of his time. The gap between the rich and the poor was enormous back then.
And that brings us to Tiny Tim. Such a small character, but he plays such a big role. What do you make of his famous line, "God bless us, everyone"? Heartwarming or a bit too sentimental?
Tiny Tim is interesting because he represents both the innocence of childhood and the very real struggles of poverty. Dickens doesn't shy away from showing us how difficult life was for families like the Cratchits, Bob Cratchit working so hard to support his family on such a small income.
It really tugs at your heartstrings, especially when you compare it to Scrooge's wealth. And that line Scrooge throws out about decreasing the surplus population, it takes on a whole new meaning after you've met Tiny Tim, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's not just an abstract idea, it's about real people, real lives.
Yeah.
Dickens forces us to confront the human cost of indifference.
You know, it really makes you think about those contrasts Dickens draws, like darkness and light. He throws Scrooge's transformation at us, and it's like a burst of sunshine through the fog.
It really is a powerful transformation, you're right. And what makes it work, I think, is that it doesn't feel sudden. Scrooge earns it.
Yeah.
By the end, he's like a kid again, full of joy. It's wonderful.
Yeah. It's like he's seeing the world for the first time. I love that bit where he's running around trying to buy the prized turkey for the Cratchits. Pure joy.
I know. It reminds us that no matter how closed off we become, there's always a chance for change. But it's more than just Scrooge, Ray. It's about how his actions affect everyone around him. Bob Cratchit, Tiny Tim, everyone. Real change makes a difference in the world.
It makes you wonder, what if we all tried to live with a little more of that generosity, what the world would be like? That's what makes A Christmas Carol so special. It's more than just a story. It's like this blueprint for being better.
Absolutely. It's a story that stays with you, and I think that's why people still connect with it after all these years. We all want to believe in the possibility of change, in second chances, and in a world where generosity wins out.
Well said. As we wrap up our deep dive into A Christmas Carol, I'm left thinking, what if the real ghosts we need to watch out for are the ghosts of our own past mistakes? And what if, like Scrooge, it's not too late to change our ending?